Welcome back to the Homeowner's Handbook. I'm Bruce, here with Trevor, and today we're going to show you how to adjust the temperature on your water heater. And before we hop into this, Trevor, before we get started, do you mind explaining the most common types of water heaters we'll see? I know there's a tanked water heater. There's the traditional tall cylinder looking water heater. What else do we have out there?
So yes, you've got your tanks, and then there's also tankless, which a tankless unit, it's a lot smaller in size. It doesn't hold 50 gallons, 40, 50, 80. It doesn't hold anything. It holds maybe a 5 to 7 gallon bilge tank inside, and it actually heats the water on demand. So the second you turn on a hot water fixture, then it starts heating the water, which is a lot more cost effective because it's not trying to maintain at that point. It's an on-demand hot water producer. So
Well put. Thank you. All right, Trevor, what do you think the temperature should be set at my water heater?
I think it should be at least 120 degrees, because at 120, you're killing off bacteria in the water system. It's helping to kill off bacteria in the water system. Once you get above high 130s into the 140s, at that point, it becomes very hot to the point it can actually scald and burn you. So I don't recommend going quite that high. Some people do it, but that sweet spot's going to be in between 120 and probably 135.
Understood. My wife likes to boil crab while she's showering, it seems like. So that's leaning more towards that 130 mark than it is the 120, I'm assuming.
It is, but if you have young kids, or some people have handicapped people in the home, and in the event that water is scalding hot above that 135, 140 range, it can really cause some damage and hurt people. So just being careful with it.
Are there any local codes or restrictions on my preference on what I can set my water heater at as far as the temperature goes?
In residential, no. Once you get into commercial and restaurant kitchens, at that point, code does kick in, and commercial dishwashers need to be at least 140. Some people will boost those up to 180 even. But in a residential application for a homeowner, not really. It's going to boil down to preference and then safety.
So is there a measurable amount of money if I was to change my temperature up 10 degrees or so from that 120 to 130? Should I see an increase on my utilities?
If you have an electric water heater, potentially. I don't think it'd be so drastic that you would barely even notice it personally. But on an electric tank type water heater, it's constantly going to be trying to maintain that temperature you set it at. So if it is set a lot higher, especially in the winter, whenever that water temperature is drastically trying to drop back down to room temperature, it's going to obviously kick that unit back on to reheat it more. So the short answer is yes. How much or how noticeable? Probably not too crazy.
Understood. We talked about the potential increase. I'm assuming it's the same thing on the reverse side, to where if I lowered it, I really won't see anything change on my utilities. Like I won't save money by going down to 120 or less.
In reality, if you did, it'd probably be so minuscule you wouldn't even notice the savings, in my opinion.
Okay. All right, Trevor. So what are some things we would have to worry about when going into this? If I set my water temperature too high, what are some things that could happen? If I don't have it high enough, what are the concerns we could run into?
If it's too high, you're going to run the risk of potentially burning someone. Whenever that water is in the 140s, it doesn't take long at all to cause a 3rd-degree burn, believe it or not, even though it's water. Too low, it's at that point an inconvenience because it's just not hot enough. And then anything under 120, you run the risk of not killing off the natural bacteria that are going to end up in that water system.
Referring to the water heater, Is it the same as like the thermostat on our wall that we use for our AC? Should we check that temperature? Is it going to change on its own or ever deviate from that set point?
Most of the time, no. I'd say majority of the people don't ever adjust it. If you know how to, you may, because I've seen in the winter months where your incoming water temperature is lower in the winter that feeds into the water heater, which can sometimes have some cause and effect on the hot water, whenever it comes out of the spout. So there are people that during the winter, they'll turn it up a little bit. And then whenever the summer comes around, just the exact opposite. Incoming water temperature is a lot hotter. If your water lines are ran in the attic, then they're dealing with the heat in the attic, obviously. So I do see some people that turn that temperature down in the summer because it becomes too hot for them. So it's going to boil down to preference. I'd say most commonly people don't really mess with it.
Perfect. So you can set it and forget it. It's a one-time thing.
You can.
So are there any tricks of the trade, features, or even accessories that we should know about with the subject that we're talking about today? As in, my water's hot enough, it just takes too long to get to my master bathroom. Is there a fix for that?
There is. A lot of our customers will have us install a recirculating pump on their water heaters, which will keep that hot water system charged. So whenever you turn on a fixture, instead of it taking 1 to 2 minutes to get hot, it can cut it down to 15 seconds to getting it hot. Another thing is the most standard size tank's going to be a 50 gallon. So I have a lot of clients that want more than that because they have kids, bathtubs, and so forth. So we can add a hot water booster on electric water heaters to take that 50 gallon water heater and level it out with producing almost 80 gallons of hot water. So that's a really cool feature. The last one I can think of is water quality. So a lot of times we'll install scale prevention on these tanks, and what it does is it keeps the sediment buildup and calcium and everything that is in every home unless filtered, and it will keep it from building up on the interior walls of the tank, and which will allow that full potential when it comes to gallons and then efficiency. So yes.
Understood. Not decreasing that usage area.
Right.
Understood. Perfect. So here in the Homeowner's Handbook, we're trying to give these tips and bits on things people can do at their home by themselves. What are some things we can do on a water heater to make sure that we don't have any premature failures, or at least we do our best to keep those from happening?
It's a good question. So on a tank type water heater, it's recommended that they're flushed out once a year. It's actually a very simple task to do. On a tank, they all have on the bottom of it, they have a valve with a water hose connection that comes out of it. If you can just hook your water hose up to that, run it out to the grass, to a bathtub, it has a port on the top. Grab a flathead screwdriver and you just turn it to the left. You don't have to turn the water off. You don't have to drain it. You don't have to do any of that. Just connect the water hose, turn that valve on, and just let it power flush out for 5 minutes. I usually do it till the water runs cold, and it'll push out all of the sediment buildup that collects at the bottom of the tank out, and that's going to extend the life of the heater. It's going to prevent scale from sticking and bonding to the metal inside, and it's going to make sure that you have the volume that you're looking for, and just gets rid of all that sediment. So super good practice, super simple to do, just once a year. On a tankless water heater, same timeline. Once a year, you need to flush those. It's still a pretty simple task, just a little bit more goes into it. On tankless water heaters, they have a cold and a hot valve where a water hose connects to. So you'll need a bucket. Some people use vinegar. They actually sell products that are specifically for tankless flushes. And you fill it up in a bucket, put a pump in there, connect the hoses to the hot and cold ports, turn the system off, and then just let it cycle through there for On those, they take 30 to 45 minutes, but you just let that solution cycle through there for up to 45 minutes, and super beneficial. And even to maintain the manufacturer warranty, it's actually vital.
Does anything like not doing is buildup or anything like that cause the temperature to technically drop? Like I have it set at 130, but my water's coming out at 120 because of buildup or lack of flush or anything like that.
On a tankless, it can, because there's so many working parts inside that it can cause it to fail, sensors to go out, which will inevitably fluctuate the temperature or produce inconsistent temperatures. On a tank type, a lot of people will call us and ask, what is this popping noise? My water heater sounds like 4th of July right now. And that sediment is what it is. As that water heats, the sediment that's stuck to the tank will start literally popping. And that's what you hear there. On a tank type water heater, if you don't maintenance it, it will continue to build up and build up and build up all of that sediment to the point, if you have a 50-gallon unit, you may only be getting 40 gallons of hot water out of it, because it's not a true 50 gallons anymore. It's got 10 gallons of surface area worth of sediment built up in it, and then you're just getting a lot less volume at that point.